Greetings, gaming citizens. Mike here. I love games. They're so much fun to play. But one thing I do hate is waiting. Why do games have to take time to get made? If I want something, it needs to get in my hands as soon as possible. Quality assurance is optional at best. I just want these games right now. My hunger for high quality games must be satisfied this instant.
Now, what would a platform game be without platforms?
Well, video games, like any other form of media entertainment, take time to make. Go figure. You've got to write the story if it's heavily focused on telling a narrative. There's concept art that has to be made. That's scratching the surface of pre-production. In the grand scheme of things, game development is a massive undertaking. That's why you see companies like Nintendo who have hundreds, thousands of employees. In their entertainment planning and development division alone, they have 8 groups of employees handling games that are developed in-house. Of course, Nintendo is massive. Going a step down to third-party devs, we still see a sizable amount of people developing games. Bandai Namco Studios, one of the most prominent third-party studios, has just over 900 employees. Greetings, gaming citizens. Editor Mike here. Just wanted to make a correction for what I said about Bandai Namco's 900 employees. I don't know where I got that number from, but you look at this screenshot from Bandai Namco's official website. Their estimated employee count is over 10,000. That's if you combine all of their different kinds of businesses. So yeah, I don't know where I got the 900 from, but yeah, basically, third-party studios still have a lot of people. That is kind of the central point I was making. The point I'm trying to make is that even though development studios are massive, games still take quite a bit of time to make. However, with this in mind, that begs the question, when is a good time to announce when a game is in development? Obviously, you want to have a decent chunk of development done by the time you make an announcement. Not only that, but timing is everything. If you don't announce your game at the best possible time, or the most eyes are on you, there's a chance it'll fly under the radar. As a game developer, you have to have a balance of decent development progress to show off, as well as generate hype, while also keeping your intended audience's interest in the game. What sparked the idea for this video was GTA 6's trailer back in December. GTA 6 has been one of the most anticipated games for years, so when word got around of a trailer coming out for it, the internet went wild. But more on that later. For this video, we're going to take a look at some games that either missed the mark for their announcements, or announced so early to the point where either the announcement got negative reception from the audience or the developer just showed a product that was too unstable for a presentation. Let's kick things off with a silly tongue-in-cheek trailer for The Outer Worlds 2. Premiering at E3 2021, this trailer took a satirical approach to revealing The Outer Worlds 2 by talking about how games are shown off far too early with little to no gameplay. To an extent, this is indeed a funny poke at the industry for how often this happens, but at the same time, it kind of adds to the problem. To this day, we still have heard nothing about The Outer Worlds 2 aside from that one trailer, and it's been over 2 years. I get it. Obsidian has a lot on their plate with games like Avowed, among other projects, but that doesn't make this any less frustrating or borderline hypocritical. GTA 6 was also another big example of all cinematic, no gameplay. Premiering in December after being leaked the day prior, Rockstar dropped the first trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6. Up to this point, we had only known that it would be a return to Vice City, with the female protagonist via leaks. After looking at the trailer, I can indeed confirm that it is a game in Vice City with a female protagonist. Before the hate train makes a stop here, let me be clear. I get why this trailer is exciting. GTA 5 has been out for over 10 years now, so even seeing a little something about the next game was monumental. But you have to admit, the only thing we got out of the trailer was the release year of 2025. I'm sure if things weren't leaked beforehand, I would have more positive things to say about this reveal, but as it stands now, I just see this as another reveal done too early because they didn't show any gameplay at all. Metroid Prime 4 is another prime example of games being announced too early. Announced via a Nintendo Direct in 2017, Prime 4 was simply revealed with a logo and nothing else. There's Pointless, and then there's the Metroid Prime 4 reveal trailer. That reveal is about as effective as Miyamoto writing down the phrase, "I thought about a new Mario game today," and showing that paper to the camera. Prime 4 wouldn't be mentioned again until 2019, where Takahashi said the game restarted development under Retro Studios instead of Bandai Namco, who were working on the project previously. Since then, we have no indication of how far along this game is in development, and at this rate, I'm probably gonna die before Nintendo announces the Metroid Prime 4 release date. Speaking of long gaps between reveal and release, let's talk Cyberpunk 2077. You may think it was simply revealed with the release date at E3 2019, but apparently CD Projekt Red announced the game's existence all the way back in May 2012 at a press conference, with the first trailer dropping in January 2013. Sure, starting a new project like this is indeed exciting, but The Witcher 3 was still a few years out from releasing at this point, so announcing a brand new project in addition to working on a highly anticipated sequel is just crazy. As a self-proclaimed growing authority on game trailer critiques, this trailer was almost just unnecessary, as it confirmed that, yes, there indeed is a sci-fi setting in a cyberpunk game, and showed nothing else because there was nothing else ready. Cyberpunk would continue to have a shaky reveal cycle starting in 2019, where they showed that iconic trailer featuring Keanu Reeves and announced the release date of April 16th, 2020. This aged like a fine milk, because in January 2020, it was delayed to September 17th, 2020. Then in June, it was delayed to November 19th, 2020. Then it was delayed one more time to December 10th, 2020. Announcing the game so early in development was already kind of a bad idea, but CDPR just dug themselves into a deeper hole with every delay. It takes a lot of confidence to announce a release date, so I'm sure at some point, CDPR did plan to release the game in April of 2020 originally. But what confuses me is that in an interview with CEO Adam Kaczynski in June 2020, amid the delay to November, he said the game wasn't quite ready yet. If the game wasn't ready in June 2020, how the hell did you expect to release it 2 months prior to that interview? Now, I won't pretend I understand game development. As far as I know, there were probably conversations had within CDPR that led to the events that happened. But as a consumer, this reveal cycle definitely impacted my hype on the game, especially after the state the game launched in when it eventually did release. CD Projekt would not be a stranger to very early reveals going forward, as they have a remake and 4 other projects all in the works as of the writing of this video, including an original IP. I get it. You're excited about all these projects you're working on and want investors to support the development of these projects. But if all you have to show is a short cinematic teaser, or even just a project codename and nothing else, I think that might be a sign that you're not ready to announce the game yet, especially when it's years out from coming together in a playable state. What about games that change the game direction during development? Ubisoft's Skull and Bones started development in 2013 as an expansion to Assassin's Creed IV Black Flag, but later shifted gears into an MMO, before finally being turned into an independent project completely. This game had a number of delays, 6 to be exact. Because the project was riddled with conflicting ideas and mishaps with management, it kept being pushed back for years before Ubisoft finally confirmed a release date of February 16th, 2024. I gotta hand it to Ubisoft for sticking with the project regardless of all the hell it was dragged through in development. As a result, though, it lost a lot of hype from the sheer number of delays and changes in direction, to the point where Ubisoft announcing another delay was practically expected from their digital events. At least with The Last Guardian, the changes were more visual than anything else. Starting development in 2007, The Last Guardian kicked off development by Team Ico. By 2009, they were prepared to show the game off at E3 and showed a clip of the game in 2011. Naturally, you'd expect the story to end there, but things went a little differently for Team Ico here. Being a small team working on the PS3, it was difficult to optimize the game, leading the 2009 trailer to be specced up. For years, the game went through development hell, with Santa Monica Studios reviewing and cleaning up the code, Sony announcing the PlayStation 4 in 2012, and eventually leading up to a reintroduction of the game in 2015 because they changed the target platform for the game since it was taking so long to make. The final product, while still meeting the creative vision of director Fumito Ueda, actually benefited from this extremely long delay, as the game's visuals were able to be upgraded thanks to the PS4's hardware. After years of slow development, Ueda leaving Sony amid the announcement of the game's delay, then returning to work with Sony under his new studio Gen Design to offer development support, The Last Guardian finally came out in 2016. All things considered, you have to give props to Sony for consistency in the game's development. Unlike Skull and Bones, the direction was consistent through the making of The Last Guardian. It just sucks being excited for this game in 2007 and not realizing that you'd be waiting 9 whole years to play it. With regards to announcing projects really far out, that's something we're seeing more in recent years thanks to shows like the Game Awards. To clarify, the Game Awards is not at fault for this, but developers do indeed use the show as a platform for announcing games really far in advance. The example I wanted to highlight was Sega's announcement at the show. The mad lads over there at SEG announced not 1, not 2, but 5 new games from legacy series like Jet Set Radio and Golden Axe to name a few. This got everyone hyped, myself included. For a while, people figured these series would just be lost to time, so it was amazing to see these games come back. That said, I have to question why they decided to just drop this news the way they did. Don't get me wrong, showing a few seconds of each game's gameplay was better than the aforementioned Cyberpunk teaser, but this falls into the same problem of just saying game company is making games. The only reason I'm not completely against this is because the marketing material did say that it was a new era for Sega. While this may read as simple marketing buzzwords, I can sort of get around it because they showed gameplay and proved that it's more than just a concept on paper. These are builds of games that, while in early development, show promise to Sega fans. I think it will only become controversial if they decide to throw all of these out the window, but only time will tell with how well they stick to their word. At least Sega showed actual gameplay, unlike this next example from Hideo Kojima. I won't spend too much time on this one since I already talked about it a great deal in my Game Awards video previously. To summarize, Kojima showed off his game OD, which he's making in collaboration with Jordan Peele. The reveal itself showed nothing except a couple shots of actors who will be playing roles in the game in what I believe is rendered in-engine through mocap. The only details we ended up getting about this project was that it was both a game and a film that tests the player's limits on fear. Conceptually, incredible concept. In practice for a reveal, this was not really much of anything. The trailer was just a couple people screaming, which is probably what the player will do when experiencing the game, no doubt, but otherwise this reveal was kind of nondescript. Kojima is no stranger to these kinds of reveals either, as his games usually have trailers that lean on the side of what I like to call artistic absurdism. But Mike, I hear you saying, what makes a good game reveal? Surely not all of them are bad. If you want my personal opinion on what makes a good game reveal, first of all get help, because my opinion sucks sometimes. But then after that, hear me out on what I think makes a good game reveal. First and foremost, it needs to have gameplay. It's important to practice the concept of show, don't tell, so viewers can get an idea of how the game plays. Cinematic scenes are fine, but they should be used sparingly and emphasize the interactivity since you're selling us a game, not a film. If you're making a game that's heavily based on a narrative, it's fine to have a couple shots of dialogue boxes in the trailer. JRPGs do this in their trailers, but they still spend most of the time showing gameplay regardless. Second, do not just throw a logo on there and call it a day. If you're making a new game in a well-known series, I'm sure it's easy to feel like the name brand alone can carry your marketing for you. But if you want people to remain excited for your highly anticipated sequel or continuation of a series, give them something to latch on to besides a JPEG of the game's logo. Third, be strategic with your timing. I get being excited about a new project, but announcing it too early can be detrimental in the long run. If you show a teaser and don't even give a release window, or just throw it a distant year at the end like 2027, it's entirely possible that your game can lose momentum over time because people are waiting so long. Finally, as an addition to my last point, announce it when it's truly ready to be announced. Don't say the game is finished, has a release date, and then delay it several times like CD Projekt did with Cyberpunk. There is very much an optimal way to announce a game before release, and I think too often we see publishers get caught up in the big picture of sales and stray away from having games reach their true potential. But those are just my thoughts, so let me ask you, what do you think of the state of game reveals? Do you agree with my general take on modern reveals not doing too well at showing gameplay? Or do you think reveals these days are actually fine at showing off the latest and greatest and retaining hype? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Stay vibing and thriving, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.